Dude, so man, we made it through another week. Did you make it to the fair at all?
I did not. So I am not a fair fan. So for any of our listeners that are unaware, Bradley and I both live in Iowa, the middle part of it to be specific. But I am not a native Iowan. I moved here back in '98. So when I moved here, all I kept hearing is about the Iowa. So every state has a fair, right? Every state has a
Right.
state fair. But coming from Georgia, where I'm from, the state fair is just that. It's a state fair. Some people go, some people don't, but it's not like your year is not about the state fair. So I moved here in April. Okay, I moved here April 7th, 1998 to be specific. And in April, I was hearing, hey, you're going to be around for the summer? You know, we've got Iowa State Fair. And I'm like, so the more have you ever seen Jumanji,
Yeah.
the next level? So one of the Jumanji sequel, there's a thing where like Nick Jonas are talking about phones. He goes, "Does phone mean something different in the future?" So people are just telling me all this about the fair, and I go, "Does fair mean something different in Iowa?" And then they go, "Oh no, we have the butter cow." Now, Bradley, this is not meant to diminish anyone's
Right.
experience. However, if anyone knows anything about Brian Dennis, if you're trying to convince me to do anything, here's what will not work. We got a cow made out of butter. Like that just wouldn't, like if you go, hey, we got the
Yeah.
Powerball ticket, but to get the Powerball ticket, you gotta look at the cow made out of butter. I might be like, I'm good. I'm really good right now. It sounds like a trap. It sounds like the beginning of Get Out. Like
Yeah.
this would be really safe, and this one like ting tings on a on a teacup, and then I'm in the sunken place. I'm not going there. So yeah.
Nice.
So the answer for this year, and for any year that I have the control of my own life, no, I did not go to the Iowa State Fair.
Oh man, I made it. I was there for about an hour. Uh yes. Yeah,
That's
so
about 59 minutes too long.
right, so I was talking to my bosses and I was like, "Yeah, it's been kind of slow just because of the fair." And then so I get a response like, "Well, hey, make sure you take lots of pictures and stuff while you're there." I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to the fair." Okay.
News to
So
me. All right.
right. So then I was like, but then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that'll be fun. I'll go hang out with the wife a little bit.
Sure.
And I got the where she was at there. They handed out a bunch of coupons.
Okay.
I made it. I was wearing my Blue Beetle shirt. I had like 4 or 5 people stop and talk to me a little bit. Made it there, handed over some coupons,
Okay.
and I was out. I was gone. I About an hour at the fair is about all I can handle.
I got you.
And it wasn't too hot actually either. When I was there on Friday,
Okay.
but yeah, it was good. It was fine. I got like the thing I won at the fair is the foot long corn dog.
See, and again, okay, so again, for people who are not familiar with how the Iowa State Fair works, one of the big pushes why
Hmm.
people really are into the Iowa State Fair is that we have just untold amounts of food on a stick.
Yeah,
And that to me doesn't quite do it. Because again, most food, if you think about it, can be on a stick. So by the
true.
fact that the big sell is, hey, we've got salad on a stick, which again, this sounds like the beginning of the apocalypse.
It does. It really, really
It's kind of
does.
like back in Thor, Ragnarok when they put the crown when they put the crown on the eternal flame. By the way, just real quick, because you know me, I go on my tangents. How in that movie, when they talk repeatedly about the eternal flame, how was there not a Bengals drop right there? Like, how
Right?
was that just not like?
Oh,
Plus, I just want us to
the
Santa Hoff
pie,
moment.
man. Yeah,
Yes,
you missed
yeah,
something.
yes, give me a little something, something there. Okay, anyway,
At least I could
but
have walked like an Egyptian.
yeah, I was gonna do it. No, you're not getting me on this podcast doing that. You're not gonna get me on the podcast doing that. By the way, to the Bengals, yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Susanna Hoff, for
She
all the
just released a
things.
new album.
Did she seriously?
She did. Probably within the last month, and I listened to it. It's good album. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's nothing I'm gonna
It's a
like go out of my way to listen to
endorsement,
over and
but
over again.
it's it's fine.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like
There's music.
it was a good listen. I'll say that. Like,
Okay.
will I
Okay.
listen to it again?
Okay.
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
You
Okay.
know,
All
but
right.
when I listened to it, I didn't mind it or anything like that. The songs are good.
Sure.
You know, I mean, for a woman who's in her 60s, like I think she's in her 60s. It
Okay.
sounds right. But anyway, yeah, man, like she's got it, man. I mean, like you could easily tell.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Fair. Fair.
I mean, like I
So
saw some
what?
pictures of Lita Ford the other day, and I was just like, I don't know if I should be feeling this way.
I
Can you imagine Lita Ford, like being Lita Ford's granddaughter or
I
something
was
like
thinking the
that?
same thing. Could you imagine Lita Ford like your grandma? Like,
Right,
there's nothing you could do that she'd just be like not okay with.
right. Like
You
it's
know,
just a
it's like,
story. Oh.
yeah, like she's gonna be like, tell you to kick the door down. You know, like or
Mhm.
Joan Jett. Like, there's
Yeah,
like, yeah, like
dude, she still
absolutely,
kicks ass, like
right,
all over the place, man.
right,
Like
right.
that woman is gonna like, dude, like there's gonna be somehow she's gonna be having concerts in her grave, man. Joan Jett is that
Yes.
hard of a rocker, man. Like, man, I love Joan Jett so much. She's one of my favorite, like, rocker chicks, man.
Oh no! Could you imagine the last one on this? Because I don't know if any of us shouldn't have had kids, but I think so. Can you imagine? I believe he is. I believe Steven Tyler is a grandfather.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like, like Peepaw goes to pick you up from daycare, and it's
Mhm.
Steven Tyler, and like at this point, like you're just waiting for him to like come take you for ice cream, and he's hitting on like all the daycare workers,
Right.
like like he's just doing the Steven Tyler thing, like he's a grandpa that shows up wearing a bandana and you're not sure
Mhm.
why. Like
And then
all
he takes you shopping at Justice and he gets the same clothes.
dude, like why is Peepaw rocking skinny jeans?
I know, man. Like,
Like
I
why is
the real
yes.
question is like, how can he rock the skinny jeans?
Uh
Because you have to walk this way.
I think when you pretty much drink and smoke your food, you tend to stay thin.
Right. It must be
Uh
all that love in an elevator.
yeah. Living it up while you're going down. And
Down,
speaking
yeah.
of going down, before we get
Ragdoll, man. It's
get
just a
into it,
ragdoll. It's
just
okay.
but it's kind of like if you were to go under the bed and slowly pull out that box. And there we go, sir. All
And
right,
that's just
sir.
crazy. That's
Yes,
just crazy.
crazy. Yeah. Okay.
It's
By
almost
the way,
like you're living on the edge.
edge. Stop it.
Gosh, we could do this all day.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
Okay. All right.
By the way, can you imagine being Liv Tyler on this set when your dad's around Alicia Silverstone? Can you just imagine the amount of dad stop, dad,
Yeah.
dad stop, dad really, dad
Right.
stop.
I
Not to
agree.
mention some of the
It's almost like he doesn't want to miss a thing.
I- all right, sir. What? Let's. All right, dude. Do the host thing.
All right, man. Like, let's go. Right. Let's talk about our movies and shows of the week.
All
What
right.
do you got for your stuff, man?
Okay, I don't really have a movie of the week, but I did have a show of the week. So I actually watched it first thing this morning. Lioness. Have you been able to catch episode 6?
Oh yes,
Okay,
dude.
first
That show
off,
just gets better every
and
week.
better. Here's the deal: we had our first Morgan Freeman sighting of the season, and by the way, I love anything that Taylor Sheridan does. I'm down with, right?
Yeah.
But watching the opening credits, and you see right before they do Nicole Kidman's, who's typically the last person in credits, they had Morgan Freeman like, oh, it's about to go down this week, and he did not let us down. And also, not to spoil anything, we saw last week they started hinting of what was kind of going to be something going on with the asset and that relationship, and we got a payoff, and now that's going to see what happens there. So
And that is definitely
absolutely,
going to live in all of our brains for at least a little while.
just a little while. By the way, did you catch this? And I meant to see if it's the same person, but when looking at the producers of it, I want to say, and I'm going to forget the name of her character, but the other female Marine as part of the Lioness Corps, I think she's a producer on the show as well. And we also have our
Nice.
first cameo.
Hey, you want to say hi? There you go.
Always stay hydrated.
I'll stay hydrated. And
Okay.
this is the end of the summer thing for you too.
Okay, you did not put these on right.
Okay.
That's the sound of a teenager right there. You, dad, didn't do something right. Okay. Hello, princess. How are you?
Hi.
How's your day?
Good.
Cool. You ready for school?
No.
No one ever is. It's okay. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Can I
What's
put
the
your
favorite thing
nose?
you did this summer?
Bite my nose? No.
Why not?
No. No. Oh, do you want to get biscuit now?
Okay.
All right.
Ah,
We have a cat attack.
I got
Uh-oh.
All right.
No.
And I think the dog needs to go outside too.
What?
By the way,
All right.
I asked her what her
Yeah.
favorite thing about the summer, and then she goes, she wants to bite you in the nose or whatever. So hey, whatever, man. Whatever.
Yeah. She was pretty homebound all summer.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't really do a lot. I mean, took a friend out to a movie, I think, a couple times, but that was about
Sure.
it. But
Sure.
other than that, she kept it pretty low key. But she did everything we asked, so that was pretty cool.
All right, that's cool. Because again, at some point, I hate to tell you, buddy, it will change.
I know.
You've been through this before. It will change.
Yeah.
So enjoy it while you can, my friend.
Exactly. TV show we were talking about Lioness.
Yes, Lioness.
Ooh.
Yes. So just overall, really great episode. Just love all the characters in it. I mean, we should really maybe at the end of the season go through the Taylor Sheridan shows and
Mhm.
just talk about the real ones we really dig. But I mean, Lioness is really just developing. I think maybe, and I could, because I always say this, I think I said for every one of his shows, but I think this might be my favorite show. This might be my favorite show. But I really am feeling this one might actually be and I mean, everything to do with Yellowstone, you got this more, you just got a longer list there. But Mayor of Kingstown is really good. Tulsa King is really good. I'm really excited. Upcoming for Bass Reeves,
Yes.
but Lioness might actually, and I hate to say it, but I think Lioness might actually be my favorite one at this point, because we're 6. I don't know how many episodes we got in the season, but through 6 of them, these have been really, really good.
I'm with you, dude. I think Lioness is my favorite show of Taylor Sheridan's.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely going to be up there when we rank our favorite TV shows of the year.
Yes.
Lioness is going to be pretty
Yes.
freaking high.
Absolutely. So again, just very, very cool show, and just the cast as well. And again, just it's not quite as cool as Samuel L. Jackson with Elsa, but come on, bro. The name LaMonica Garrett, bro.
Man, dude, we'll do a tribute episode of Taylor Sheridan, and maybe here in the next couple of weeks. All right. What about you said you didn't have a movie though?
I did not have a movie, but I'll give you some things I did capture this week.
Yes.
Just go with that little WWE. I know some folks that really dug our WWE roundups. I caught Raw, NXT, and SmackDown this week. So the big things that we're seeing is we've seen the continuation of the Bloodline storyline. We're now seeing the burgeoning of maybe some disconnect within the LWO, the Latino World Order. We've got Rey Mysterio. He's United States champion. Grayson Waller sowing up some seeds of, hey, you remember who should have had the title shot? He didn't get a shot of it. We got some time with The Miz, which I don't know. A lot of people don't like The Miz. I have always been a fan of The Miz.
Same.
And of course, we got a little time with our boy, Mr. LA Knight. Yeah. Now, the one thing I didn't like about any of the wrestling this week was it seems so apparent that LA Knight should be getting pushed as the next big star. And they had him do on Friday? They had him lose. Middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, and to a guy in Austin Theory who, while young and got a lot of potential, is not nearly as hot as LA Knight. So I'm not exactly sure kind of what they're going with that. No Roman Reigns this week, not shocking. Typically, once we get away from big pay-per-view, we don't get any Roman Reigns for a little while. We don't get any Brock Lesnar for a little while. Cody wrestled a match, and Cody Rhodes is still Cody Rhodes, and of course, we had a little bit of our Judgment Day sighting. And all I can say with the Judgment Day is 2 words: Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Just everything else is secondary. Rhea Ripley. So not any major happenings this week, but again, we continue to see, and this is a downtime. We're a couple weeks outside of SummerSlam. They've got some smaller pay-per-views coming up. We're not getting to a real major one until we get around, until we get to November, we get the Survivor Series. This also tends to be the lull in the WWE year. They'll kick it up around the holidays to gear up for WrestleMania. So we'll continue to see some things there. The last thing of it is, and I really hope he gets some run, we got a little time with Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Seth Rollins, him kicking Seth's kneeing Seth's teeth in his face, which is really, really cool just because I'm a big Shinsuke fan. He will not become world champion at this point in his career, but it's great to see him get a little limelight. So with that being said, that'll kind of be my movie of the week. Was 7-ish hours of watching wrestling, which is a lot of wrestling. But again, we continue to move forward. Still really hot crowds. They were in Canada most of the week. Canada is very WWE friendly. So really, really excited crowds, good matches. And again, I'm just hopefully we'll see some victories coming to the way of our boy LA Knight.
Nice. And I heard that a name was spoken in this week. One name, Sasha Banks, was brought up. So do you think Sasha is on her way back to the WWE?
So. I hope so. I think so. I want to go one thing on WWE where I just totally forgot to mention. I think she's coming back for a couple of reasons. Number one, if she could go anywhere else, she's had the time to go anywhere. She could have gone. Not that she wants to go to Impact. Impact is really several steps down from the WWE, but she could have honestly gone to AEW and been probably the number one woman in that organization, given her run. She could have gone back to her old name, Mercedes McNabb. But the fact that we have not seen her really pop, at least consistently anywhere, she's coming back. And they need her. They need her to freshen up things. No, honestly, no one wants to see Charlotte with another title reign anytime soon.
Yeah.
Bailey's got the whole deal going on with Damage Control. Becky Lynch is very similarly kind of with things between either Trish Stratus or just similarly to Charlotte Flair. We've seen her win a lot of titles, give her some time out of spotlight. We've not got a real concentrated run with Sasha Banks. Her coming back, her having matches with the likes of Bianca Belair, with Io Scott, with, again, our girl, Miss Rhea Ripley. I think those are things that I think we would be real excited to go. And one last thing, and I can't believe I forgot to say this. The entire week of WWE television, Raw, a little bit of SmackDown, and Raw, a little bit of NXT, and all of SmackDown was to go to the main event, which is to celebrate 25 years of Edge. So the Rated R Superstar. And Edge has been around for a very long time. They've done a really good job of really capturing Edge's journey, not only as a WWE superstar, but someone who really wanted his entire life to be a WWE superstar. They showed video of him doing a talk show in Canada when he was a teenager, and Bret Hart was like on the daytime talk show host, and young Adam Copeland, his real name. Hey, how do you become a WWE superstar? They shown him at different pay-per-views that were held in Canada, especially in Toronto, him being in the crowd, and he worked independent stuff, but really from him, but never worked on a major league anywhere but the WWE, and holding pretty much every title they've had, and really gone through all the different incarnations, and then having his match with Sheamus. Here's what it was big. Number one, it was a good match. Edge won. But the big thing about it is Edge is from Toronto. He came back really after being gone for several years due to a neck injury. His children were there. His wife, Beth Phoenix, who's a Hall of Fame wrestler, was there. Beth was in tears the entire time. And the idea was that's going to be his last match. He's had different statements going. If he could plan his last match, and he didn't get to plan it last time due to a health issue, that he would want to go out in front of his hometown fans. So last Friday was his last match. It was a good match. He had never had a one-on-one match before. And he went over, he won, and he went in front of his hometown crowd. He got to give a lot of love to his wife, to his kids. And as someone that has been a fan of his, it's a good way of going out. And that really was the center of wrestling this week, was
Nice.
really celebrating, giving him that opportunity to go out the way that he didn't get a chance to almost a decade ago because of a neck injury. So if you get a chance to see that, it'll be I'm sure it'll be all over WWE socials. If you get a chance to see that again was just super, super cool.
Yeah, excellent. Well, my TV show was I've been watching the Dragon Prince on Netflix.
I've not gotten into that. How is that?
I love it, man. I put it on just because it's like 25-minute episodes, and I didn't want anything that was going to capture me too hard. And my wife wants to watch The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and she wants to watch The Pope's Exorcist, and can't do anything when she's working all the time. But so I just figured, you know what, I'm gonna put this on. And dude, it's great. It's a really good, fun show. I just got Leia into it today, so I think she's gonna watch it all. It's family friendly.
Right.
It's if you like anime, but you don't know what it's Americanized anime.
Okay.
And it's just a good movie. They're a good show. Good show.
Good. All right.
I mean, and it's not a lot. I mean, like you can get through a whole season in a couple of hours.
Okay.
There's 5 seasons right now, so I think I'm on season 4. But yeah, that and then Lioness, because Lioness is probably the best show on TV right now.
So you're saying it's not Vox Machina, is what you're saying?
It's definitely not Vox Machina. Yes.
Yeah. And again, just to finish up with Lioness, just because you brought it up again, the acting is superb. There's got to be some Emmy nods coming, and especially for Zoe Saldana. I mean, she just shows how to really go, and I love that in just because this after what you saw more from last week's episode, but they did a really good job of showing the weight that her dual life, which her family, her husband especially, knows a bit about, even not all of it. You saw the weight, and there was a scene that was really awesome. Then I'll close the book on this one from my perspective. It actually was last week's show where they were driving as her and Nicole Kidman, and they're trying to manage relationship. Both her character and Nicole Kidman's character are married, and Nicole Kidman basically stated, "My marriage should not be your goal." And you see someone that's been doing this for longer, and the toll that it took on her family, and really for her friend, for her mentee, really going, there's other ways to do this. So I just love those little bit, and you gotta love the QRF. I mean, I don't know about you, but Two Cups is my favorite character, just for whatever. And the worst luck is, if not that anyone should even, those of you are planning a home invasion, watch the most recent episode of Lioness, and it will change your mind.
Yeah.
That you know what? Some things are just a really bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't say anything better about it, but such a good show. There's a couple of games that I'm really interested. I don't know what I'm gonna get. The Immortals of Avium comes out here pretty soon. It looks really cool. It's like a mage first-person shooter type thing.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 is getting a lot of love. A lot of people a lot of gamers I've been talking to, like, dude, you got to get it. And then Wayfinder, it's a new MMO, just came out. You can get a founder pack for $20.
Nice.
I still might do that tonight. We'll see. But just some games that I'm thinking about. I don't know which way I'm going to go, but we'll see. Movie. All right. Well, so
come on.
I saw Blue Beetle.
Yes.
We'll get into that here in a little bit, but I also watched American Nightmare finally.
Yes.
And dude, that is such a great documentary. So good. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Absolutely. By the way, so with that, let's hit this fucking music and we'll talk some Blue Beetle, sir.
Sounds good to me. Welcome to the Fandemic. This is a podcast that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you. In a Lone Star, I go through the best bad reviews that I can find based on title alone. In Prevenge of the Nerds, we tell you the stories that could have happened before and after your favorite movies, TV shows, and so much more. And also in the Fandemic, we look at supporting cast of properties we adore or tribute our favorite actors, movies, or if it's been a while, we just catch up on everything and so much more. I have interesting conversations with amazing people monthly. I'm the self-proclaimed emperor of awesome, Bradley Butin, and with me I have the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, and the unverified twin of Shamar Moore in the nipples. Who am I talking about?
I am the person that got Twitter changed to X. My name is Brian S. Dennis, with the S stands for Cord. Ted Cord.
Yes, it absolutely should. What are we talking about today, dude?
All right, buddy. What we're going to talk about today is Blue Beetle. And you're going to talk a bit about the movie. We're going to talk about all the things regarding Blue Beetle. And Bradley, if you didn't notice, Blue Beetle is one of my personal favorite characters just because of all the things we're going to talk about.
Mhm.
And not just the Jaime Reyes one, which is the focus of the movie, but the predecessor in one Ted Cord. So take
I
it
love
away,
Ted Cord.
sir. Tell me about the movie.
I love Ted Cord. Let me get there. Okay, so there will be spoilers to the
There
movie.
will be spoilers.
All right. So here is Blue Beetle is the story of Jaime Ramirez going up against the person who's running Cord Industries is Victoria Cord, played by Susan Sarandon. She does a good job. The family scene is really good for I want to say Miguel, but Jaime Ramirez, played by Zolo. I cannot say your last name. I am so sorry. I don't want to screw it up. But anyway, you are fantastic as Jaime Reyes. We love you. We love you. We love you. And kick some butt in Cobra Kai. And there's a lot of stuff that happens here. The villain in the movie is one Omac. Now, Ted Cord he disappeared years and years ago. So his daughter is, grew up without a father, looked at his aunt because her mother died. It's a really good setup. Now, I liked it. Blue Beetle felt to me like a Marvel movie, which I think is the right thing for DC to do, because it's hard to talk about Blue Beetle without bringing up the DC and the state of DC Comics and everything like that. I wish that DC Comics would have pushed Blue Beetle, because they didn't. They really didn't. This is a fun movie. All right, now this is more in the vein of like the original Shazam.
Yep.
Yeah. However, I am a huge fan of Ted Cord Blue Beetle. Some of my favorite characters, especially when I'm talking about like a partnership in superheroes, blue and gold, baby. Blue and gold. Blue Beetle and Booster
I knew
Gold.
you were going to say that.
Now, I have a theory, because in this movie, Ted Cord disappears. Now, one of the post-credit scenes, he kind of talks, but anyway, and I am 100% sure that is definitely Jason Sudeikis.
Makes sense.
Jason Sudeikis has to be Ted Cord.
Would absolutely make sense.
Yes. And I think that Ted Cord, the reason why he disappeared is he's in the future with Booster Gold. James Gunn has already announced a Booster Gold show. This would be a perfect way to tie everything in. Now, they do name drop Superman, Batman, and Flash in the movie.
As they should.
Yep. They don't show them, so it might be a totally different. Better be a totally different. So he's outside of the Snyderverse. We don't know where Blue Beetle fits into the DCU that James Gunn is doing.
Sure.
But it's gonna be in his DCU in some way. There's gonna be more. This is a fun movie. Leia loved it, and yes, there were some things I wish they wouldn't have. I wish they wouldn't have aged him up. Because Jaime Ramirez, I was really hoping for like a 16-year-old Jaime
Hmm.
Ramirez,
Hmm.
but that wouldn't have worked for the story. For the story that they
Okay.
wanted to tell, he had to be a little bit older. He was
Okay.
a college graduate. He just graduated from college in pre-law, and which I think is cool. Very very cool. Like I mean, and I don't know. I know a lot more about Ted Core than I do Jaime Reyes.
Yes.
Um, Now the supporting cast I felt was the weak link in the movie.
Really? Okay.
Not like George Lopez in this.
I was gonna ask, how did Lopez come across? Okay, not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, like he played this bumbling uncle, but then he was brilliant in all these things and could figure things out and whatnot. And man, it's just like you if you're gonna make the comment that Batman is a fascist, you got to back it up in some way. Like make a statement. Why is Batman a fascist?
Yeah.
Why are all these things? And if Blue Beetle's been around and everybody's heard of Blue Beetle, they should have showed a picture of him, or they should have had a
Right.
flashback scene or
Right.
something of Ted Cord Blue Beetle. You know, because he makes a big deal out about finding out that Ted Cord is Blue Beetle in the movie.
Okay.
I just wasn't a fan of the George Lopez. The shining stars was Jenny, who is the Jenny, which is Ted Cord's daughter,
Hmm.
and Jaime Reyes. Now, the voice of Blue Beetle is
Of the
Becky
Scarab.
G. Yeah,
Okay.
of the Scarab is Becky G. So a singer.
Yep.
She's acted. She was a yellow Power Ranger in the most recent Power Rangers and movie. It's a fun ride. And it is that. Now it does start off a little bit slow, but once it gets going, it goes. OMAC, I know I had known about OMAC, but I had forgotten about OMAC. And like the second they said it, I was like, oh, OMAC.
So between OMAC
Wow.
and Brother Eye, I mean, that again harkens back to, so there's been three characters who have been known as Blue Beetle. So you had Dan Garrett, who was the original, Ted Cord, who you've heard reference of, and then opposite the Jaime Reyes character. So Dan Garrett had basically additional physical ability because of the Scarab, and then Ted Cord was not a powered superhero. And then you've got the Jaime Reyes with more the science fiction kind of magic meets tech type of deal. But the idea of OMAC and Brother, especially in a world where AI is becoming such a thing, is really a perfect villain to be done with that. We've talked before about how DC can really compete with Marvel in the movies, and number one, other than hoping for more like Immortals and Scarlet in Black Widow movies, the only thing they can really hope for is to draw in a different crowd. So the only really super, now that the Marvel movies are meant to be family friendly for the most part, and bring in basically folks, I would say mid-teens to our age is really who their target audience is. But Marvel really, outside of Spider-Man, doesn't really have a kid focus franchise, and they've tried doing a few things on Disney Plus and all that.
Yeah.
This is where Shazam and Blue Beetle can really start to do that, because if you get a strong fan base that it says is under, let's say, 16, guess what? Guess what's to come in the movies usually with those kids? Their parents, right? So that's why kid movies tend to do on the box office. The kids typically don't go alone; they're bringing at least one parent or a sibling. So for every 12-year-old, you're probably selling 2 tickets to make the movie happen, which is a good thing. I love the fact that you said they brought in OMAC. I like the fact that they really referenced the previous version of it, and Jason Sudeikis will be fantastic. I've always loved Blue Beetle because you already mentioned kind of Batman and the fashion side of it. Is the idea that we really have these super, when you draw the similarity between Batman and Iron Man, you have these super smart, handsome, playboy, geniuses who are also badasses, and just beat up all the bad guys. One does it with his fist, one does it with a suit of armor. So that's why Batman's better than Iron Man. Iron Man sucks. But you have this, and then you've got Ted Cord, who, similarly to Oliver Queen, yes, wealthy, yes, have resources, but much more grounded people. Basically, Blue Beetle would be if Bill Gates became a superhero.
Yeah,
That's Blue Beetle.
that is
He's
right.
nerdy. He's insecure. He doesn't always get the girl. In fact, that's a running joke with his character. Is he's that guy in the Justice League that's kind of in the back. He's traditionally have been looked at as a B-list or C-list character. In fact, that's really why they put him and Booster together, where they were kind of like making a tag team in wrestling. Is hey, we got a couple guys that aren't doing anything. Let's put them together and see what happens. That's what they did. They put
In his
Booster,
soul.
yeah,
In his soul.
yeah,
It was so good.
yeah. They put Booster and Blue together, and again, blue and gold. Now, here's the deal: if they're gonna make a Blue Beetles movie, one thing that they have to do, and I just talked before about how do you not pull out the Eternal Flame and Thor Ragnarok. If you're gonna do anything that is faithful to to Booster Gold, that means he's got to have this buddy Skeets, which is where you need Lil Jon and the East Side Boys going from the window to the wall. Skeet, Skeet, Skeet. Do this for me. Do this for me. I will jump ship from Marvel to DC if you can give me Lil Jon and the East Side Boys in a DC movie. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Yes, we've brought this up before. So DC, we're helping you out here. I know things are tough right now.
Yeah.
So that one's for free. That one's for free.
And we know you are. You can get them at a rate. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. But I'll tell you what. Like, if I was going to put it on the beardy scale,
yes, sir.
I would say it's a 4. It's
not bad.
It's a 4 beardies.
Not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I really want you to go see it. As a matter of fact, I want to go see it again. So we'll
go see it
we'll have to hook up and maybe we can go this week or this weekend. But yeah,
here's my question. Then we can talk some more to get some tats about it. Is this? So we know that the DCU has struggled a bit, and again, and honestly, even if it was in a world without Marvel being as big as Marvel and Marvel not having Disney backing them, the many of the DC live action, again, we said this, where the animated products do so much better, and you can catch most of them on Max. The live action, where they really seem to struggle. And I did revamping it because, definitely sort of the Snyderverse versions, Ben Affleck's Batman never quite clicked. They got rid of Henry Cavill as Superman, which not the greatest decision. And even some of the things that they've done that have clicked, like Black Adam, not necessarily Black Adam. I think there's potential there definitely with Dwayne Johnson if they can make friends again. But the JSA was done so well.
Yeah.
In that. Suicide Squad was done really well, and we see how that's taken off with Peacemaker. The Flash movie, less said about that, Wonder Woman 84, same deal there. Is there a push? And this is kind of my question to you, call this a pre-tat-tat, where Marvel seemed to make a lot of headway was because of licensing. It couldn't lead with Spider-Man. It couldn't lead with the X-Men. So it had to develop Iron Man, Thor, again, Captain America, the Avengers, which all the movies, the Avengers and the folks at the process event were really not the primary. Spider-Man, the X-Men, namely Wolverine, that's who led Marvel, okay?
Yeah.
So go over in a bit of the Hulk. So then you go over to DC, they've led with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They're triple threat there. Is it time for them to leave those characters alone and focus on Shazam, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, the JSA, those non-really big name? And again, you know who you're talking to. I always want more Batman, but I don't want bad Batman, right? I don't want the bat nipples. Okay, I really don't. Is it time to maybe for them to revamp it and do characters that honestly are just not as well known, so they can have more freedom? Everybody knows Batman and Superman. A lot of people know Wonder Woman. Is it time for them just to tear it down, blow it up, and start with those BC list level characters and develop them from there?
Absolutely, man. I think so. I mean, you could tell. You don't even have to get far away from Batman. You could tell the story of the Robins.
Yes,
and not even really have Batman in there at all. I mean, a director could take a really good story out of Dick Grayson in the circus, whatnot,
Yep.
and then have it end with him becoming a ward of Bruce Wayne. And you
Yes.
could tell a good story. You could tell a good story of Jason Todd, who had a lot of troubles at home.
Yep.
You could tell those stories. As far as like the B-list superheroes, Blue Beetle's a good start because there is so much history. I mean, he started Blue Beetle's been around since 1939.
Yes.
I mean, there's been 3 different people to pick up the mantle, and like you said, there's different parts of it, which makes the character all that much better.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, like in the thanks to Blue Beetle, they thanked Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Ditko. Thank you.
Ditko. I was to slow it down. Ditko.
Now,
yes.
Because he was one of the first illustrators of Ted Kord, right?
Yep, he was.
Yeah. He's like one. Yeah, the open mask and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean,
before Marvel was ever even conceived of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because so
back
DC
then it was Charlton Comics and Detective Comics and even Action Comics. Well before Marvel was ever a thing, you really had these other comic companies that have kind of gone away or absorbed by DC. That a lot of those first illustrators and writers got started on that side of it. So the fact that they gave honor to that is really important. So there's stories to be told there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you know who would be a really good pick with Blue Beetle here.
All right,
Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
Green Arrow into this, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, man. You know what? Like, let's see those Nightwings. Let's actually, you know, I think even Nightwing's too big. But if we're gonna say Green Arrow's good, let's do, you know, Guy Gardner. Let's do Deadman. I
would say John Stewart, but that's just
Zatanna.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think, but John Stewart just is probably the best Green Lantern.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
There's a couple of good ones, but I mean, John Stewart, everybody says he took over from the Guardians in Oa. I mean, like John Stewart is the man when it comes to the Green Lanterns.
Right. And again, similar to what they did with Avengers, you know, let's be real. If Marvel had the ability, they would have done X-Men first, but they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And it wound up serving them better because they got to build the event and build Avengers slowly over time. Why not? Since you introduced the JSA in Black Adam, give us a JSA, and maybe it's already in the works, but give us a JSA, and especially if you do a prequel, because that way you give us back Pierce Brosnan, which I think that's what I want. I want Dr. Fate to be. I want Dr. Fate to be Pierce Brosnan. You can give us Hawkman, you can bring us Hawkwoman, and again, you know where I feel. You give me Mr. Terrific, who I really, really want.
I mean, he's cast. He's going to be in Superman Legacy.
Who's cast? Who's playing? Have they disclosed that?
I forget now. I know we talked about it one time. Well, you talk. I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah. So you give us Wildcat, you know, and you can do it through a series of flashbacks. So those that don't know Wildcat's known for being the one that taught the non-power members of the Justice League in DC how to actually fight. So Batman, Robin, Batgirl, all those folks that aren't powered but can fight and hold their own. He's kind of that trainer. So I think there's a lot that can be done while moving away again from that Trinity, as they're called in DC, and Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. You know, I think there's a lot that can be done for that, especially because they've had so many years of television on the WWE, really, on the WB, with Supergirl, with Flash, with this Arrowverse as a whole. And you got to give us really good villains. We need a really good Lex Luthor. We need a really good Doomsday. We need someone that's those villains that really drive the plot line. So, you know, my thought before we get more into some of the tats regarding Blue Beetle is the time to start over. And of course, it's easy for me to say that because I don't have millions upon millions of dollars wrapped up in the production. That's why I'm glad I'm not one James Gunn. All right, sir.
All right. So do you want to know who's cast?
Absolutely.
Edie Gatharji. And I'm saying his name wrong. I do apologize.
I know that, but I can't picture him. All right.
He was in Gone Baby Gone. He was in Twilight. He was also Darwin in X-Men First Class.
There it is. Perfect casting.
Yep. Yeah.
Perfect casting.
And yes, he will be fantastic.
Perfect casting.
As Mr. Because Mr. Terrific is, I mean, like, he's one of the only people that Batman trusts like the most. I mean, and he's just as smart as Bruce Wayne. He's one,
right,
if not more.
I think he within the DC of, unless you take in individuals who are like gods.
Yeah,
I think as far as mortals, he's billed as the smartest human.
I think so.
Which I really liked as well, because he's a person of color. So
yeah,
all right, sir.
Echo Callum just was amazing as him in Arrow. Yeah, it's such a good show. All right, cool. Yeah, what do you got for a tap, man?
All right, so since we're talking Blue Beetle, I figured let's just talk about the color blue, and let's do some. I like my idea of versus. So I'm gonna have Blue Beetle versus some other blue characters, and see who you think would win. Now, here's where you have the ability. You can pick which version of Blue Beetle, but you gotta pick. You gotta pick at the beginning.
Okay.
So, your options are Dan Garrett, Ted Cord, or Jaime Reyes. And for the first versus match, do you want us to be Jaime, Dan, or Ted Cord?
Okay, I have to make myself not pick Ted Cord every time.
Okay.
So we're gonna go Jaime Reyes.
Okay, so Jaime Reyes, which is gonna be very interesting, with the homicidal scarab versus Stitch from Lilo and Stitch in a hula contest, hula dancing.
In a hula dancing. Okay, sorry, Jaime, but Stitch has this. I don't think anybody can beat Stitch at hula dancing. I mean, like, man, I mean, he's gonna give you a lay.
He's gonna shut it down,
and you're good. Like, Jaime is gonna be friends with Stitch by the end of this. He's gonna take the defeat, and Stitch will go first. And Jaime's like, I can't even compete with that. The Scarab is gonna be telling him to try to kill Stitch, but then it's gonna scan Stitch, and then they're gonna be best friends.
Of course, because 616 probably where the Scarab came from. All right.
Correct.
By the way, who else wouldn't want to get laid by a small blue creature? Okay. Now, with that being said, all right, battle number 2. Okay, so now, since you've already used Jaime, that's gonna leave us Ted and Dan Garrett. Okay. So who's going next, Jaime or Dan?
Well, I'm gonna go
Dan.
I'm gonna go Dan. I'm gonna save Ted for last.
So, for those who don't know Dan Garrett basically was someone with extra physical abilities due to the Scarab. So, it's going to be the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle versus James P. Sullivan. And if you don't know James P. Sullivan, he's the blue monster from Monsters, Inc., voiced by John Goodman, in a hot dog eating contest.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Dan, but, Sully is going to win this.
Sully's shutting it down, right?
Sully's winning the hot dog contest. There is no contest here. But see, here's the thing about Blue Beetle. He knows talent when he sees it.
Facts.
And again, I think that Dan Garrett he's a geek, right? Like Dan Garrett was never, he's not suave or anything like that. And that's one of the cool things about Blue Beetle. He's like all the incarnations of Blue Beetle minus Ted Cord, because he has all the money and the super big brains, are like you and me. We could be Blue Beetle.
Right.
So I think that they would become friends again. I think that they would invite Dan Blue Beetle back into the nightmare world, to Monsters Incorporated, and he would help them come up with new tech to scare the kids.
Perfect. The other part about it is, as you just mentioned, is Blue Beetle actually, and even with the update with the Scarab and the arm and all the sci-fi stuff that comes with it, the Blue Beetle, if you take it when compared to Batman sounds cool and badass. Green Arrow sounds cool and badass. Who are you? I'm the Blue Beetle. This is like half a step cooler than the Tick. Okay, right? So again, right?
I want that match.
Right? Okay. So now I feel bad that I didn't pick the Tick, but I did pick one more. So this is gonna be your boy Ted Cord. Fight number 3: Ted Cord Blue Beetle versus Papa Smurf in a slap fight.
Okay. I'm gonna give this to Ted Cord.
Really?
I am.
This is a man with 101 children. and no co-parent.
But he's also only 8 inches high.
But as we know, when you slide that box from under the bed,
That's where you're gonna find Papa Smurf.
sometimes 8 inches is
It's all you need.
All right, sir.
It's like,
Yeah, we're getting banned from the internet. It's
yeah,
coming. It's
so
finally
yeah.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Ted Cord, just because of his size, I think that Ted Cord would, and he's got the tech behind him too.
Sure.
Ted Cord would also want to, again, make friends with Papa Smurf, and they would come up with new inventions on things, on how to do things and everything like that. And I think Papa Smurf ultimately would help the Blue Beetle become a better Blue Beetle.
Gotcha. If nothing else, could you imagine maybe Blue Beetle and Smurfette, they figure something out? All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I mean, you get some Atom technology in there, you know?
Yeah. Atom, or absolutely. The Atom, not Captain Atom. All right, cool.
Correct.
Or Atom Smasher, and yeah, all the fun things. Okay, because we all know in comic books, bigger is better. All right, sir. So thank you for that. So I got that. I believe in the first one, Stitch beats Jaime Reyes. James P. Sullivan or Sully defeated Dan Garrett, and in a slap fight, you're taking Ted Cord, the geek, the nerd himself, over again, a man with 101 kids and no co-parent, in a slap fight. All right. So with that being said, sir, I have an honest ad for you. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
All right, sir. Here's my honest ad. Skip, reverse, draw two, or wild. This game is not meant for the innocence of a child. Learn numbers, colors, and how to compete. But most importantly, you must cheat. Taking turns, sportsmanship, and acting with grace. All these fade away when a draw 4 card is in your face. Lie, deceive, use every trick you know. Only the craftiest get to yell Uno. Apply these lessons and follow my lead. If that doesn't work, because that was Monopoly.
Actually, I played Leia in Monopoly today, and I kicked her ass.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Bad.
That's what being a parent with a child. Especially, and by the way, two-person Monopoly is just someone's getting totally just obliterated. Obliterated when it's 2 people in Monopoly.
I mean, it was so bad. Like the rent that I had to pay her was $10, and I was just giving her $100. I'm like, here you go.
Wow.
I had hotels on like 6 different properties, and she did have Boardwalk and Park Place.
Okay.
And she was able to get a couple of houses on there.
Sure.
Until I got to the point where she had to mortgage them all.
Yeah, she couldn't build anything because she had to pay you every turn.
Yep, it was awesome. It was awesome. All right, sir. Good job. Great. I just had an Uno tournament a couple days ago at the B&B Theaters in Ankeny, Iowa.
I thought of it. Yes, sir.
All right. Are you ready for the question? Am I the asshole?
I forgot about these. I love these. Let's do it.
All right. This one here is called, am I the asshole for not telling my wife just how much my late wife left our children? Are you ready, sir?
I can't wait to hear this one. I am very ready.
I was married to Sammy for 8 years, and we had 2 children together. Delaney, now 18F, and Finn, now 17 male. Sammy had been born with a serious heart defect that was left undiagnosed for many years. It was during her pregnancy with our daughter where she learned about this. During her pregnancy with her daughter, I'm going to repeat the sentence again, where she learned about this. Though, I'm sorry, I can't talk, through some health issues over her life, had been a sign. That was, man, that's not word right. Okay, I'm going to read this exactly how it is here, so sorry about the pronunciation. Through some health issues over her life, had been a sign that was ignored by doctors. During her pregnancy with our son, she went into total heart failure. And between one thing or another, she realized she would not get another heart in time. Sammy came into money a few years before her death. We had always talked about that going towards our kids' college expenses. When she realized it was unlikely she would live long enough to see them pass kindergarten and first grade, she asked me how I would feel about her parents being in charge of the money. My family are not good people, and our concern was always if the money was left with me and something happened to me, my family would find a way to get their greedy paws on it. They would have spent that money without a second thought for their grandchildren, niece, nephew, and in all likelihood would have left them with nothing. So I said yes. Sammy's death came way too soon, but she was peaceful in the end. 4 years later, I met my current wife, Nat, and after a 2-year relationship, we got married. Nat has two girls who are 14 and 12. When Nat and I sat down to discuss finances, college funds, etc., I told her that Sammy had left our kids some money, never disclosing exactly how much, and just mentioned that we would not need to save for the kids' college. It was different for her girls. Her ex, their father, had stolen the money Nat saved for the girls. So we started saving together, but it was not a lot. When Delaney told me she wanted to go to college and that she was strongly considering community college, I sat both her and Finn down and told them about the money. I told her it was not to pressure her, but if she wanted to go away for college, there was money available. Delaney chose to keep the money for a house in the future, and Finn mentioned he would likely do the same with his share. Delaney mentioned Delaney mentioned it in front of Nat over the summer, and Nat was confused by her comment about buying a house. She asked how much money it was, and she was furious with me when Delaney told her. She said I should have disclosed just how much my kids had access to. I asked her why. It was their money. It had nothing to do with us. She said I was too vague and I should trust her as my wife. This has been a tension between us ever since. What do you think?
Okay, wow, this is a tough one. So my initial response is because the writer asking if they're the asshole
Mhm.
is the dad, correct?
Right. Am I
The
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 asshole for
yeah,
not telling
not
my wife
disclosing.
just how
Sure.
much my late wife left our
Right.
children?
Okay. So here's my thought process on it, or my real quick opinion. The answer is no. He's not an asshole.
Mhm.
Because number one, he's not done anything with the money at all. The money is actually not being used for anything other than what he said. From your reading of it, basically what he said was, my wife, health issues, came into some money, knew she was not get a chance to see our kids to adulthood. I set aside the money to be used for education. He tells his new wife there's money set aside for the kids' education. The new wife, if she wanted to know, could have asked. She chose not to ask. He then, as his kids get older and they're making a decision about where they're going to go to college, he makes sure they understand that the financial piece of it is taken care of due to what their mom left them. And I will say this again, what their mom left them, not to the children, not to his stepchildren, not to him, to her children before she died. He tells them how much it is. He doesn't like he was hiding anything.
Mhm.
He said he had a discussion with her if she wanted to know specifics. He even said, from your reading of it, the money for college would not be an issue. So at that point, if she really wanted to know, if it really was a factor, she could have said, how much are we talking about? It wasn't until years later, and now both kids are able to go to community college, which is going to be much more affordable, and then be able to buy a house. I think now is hitting her because her children, unfortunately, won't have the exact same journey when it looks at paying for their education, buying a home. I
Mhm.
get her being a little bit like, wow, I wish I could. It's only because her ex stole money she had set aside. But
Yeah.
that's a knee-jerk reaction. And if it's being a point of tension, it has nothing to do with what he did. He is not the asshole. Could he have said, hey, it's X amount of money? He could have, just like she could have asked.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. She knew it was there, and now that she's gotten details, my response to B is, what would have changed about it? So yeah, so let's just use 100 grand. Let's say there's 100 grand left aside for the kids, and she thought maybe it was 10 grand left aside for the kids. Other than the fact of adding a zero, the purpose of the money is still the same. So what is the difference? And that would be my question to her if she was my spouse, is what difference does the dollar amount make? And
Yeah.
understanding he wasn't vague, he told you the gist of it. There was no follow-up. So
Mhm.
that's my thought process. But what about you, sir? What do you think?
I agree with you, man. I think this is definitely a case where like it does. I don't think she's meaning to be an asshole. I think it's more of a
Sure.
jealousy thing.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, the asshole of the story is her ex-husband, right? That doesn't
100%.
not really in here very much. And by the way, like bad dude, like go,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
But
we sentenced you to we sentenced you to Azkaban, where all you can watch is Andor. That is your sentence.
That is correct. I like that.
Andor on a continuous loop. That's all you get. Yes.
Right, and not even the episodes with Andy Serkis.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Good job. I like it, man. I really dig it. Are you ready for the second one?
I would love it. Let's do it.
This one is called Am I the Asshole for Shaming My Alpha Male Boyfriend About His Job?
Before you say anything else, no. If you shame an alpha male about his job, so he ain't left something to be shamed about, do it and do it again. But please, let's hear the details.
All right. Around a year ago, I, 19F, moved to the U.S. for university. In my first week there, I met my now 21M boyfriend. However, 6 months ago, he dropped out to start a drop shipping business. He was a sociology major for context. I tried to persuade him to stay in school for a backup plan, but he explained to me that the drop shipping market is huge and he'll make more money than he would if he got his degree. A while ago, I got a waitressing job at a very popular food chain. If I said the name, it's likely a lot of people would know it. And for context, my work is the first location in the chain. I won't lie. I make minimum wage, but decent with tipping. My boyfriend's business actually makes decent money, around $3,000 to $4,000 per month. This sounds good, but he has a terrible attitude and thinks everyone still in school has a job paying less than him or doesn't own their own business is inferior. He also considers himself an alpha male and continuously watches business lessons on YouTube Shorts. Yesterday, we got into a fight.
You see the eyebrow, right? You see the eyebrow? Okay. Yep.
It all started when I got home from work, and I was going to tell him about how we got a surprise visit from a worker at a restaurant, and how we got along so well. The first thing he said was, "How old is she? What's her salary? Must be $7.50 an hour." I told him that she was around my grandmother's age, and he started berating her for still working at her age and how she still doesn't have enough money to retire. I was getting really irritated at him and decided to tell him the rest of my story about her. Her and her husband founded the chain. They're probably multi-millionaires. They've earned more than you will probably ever make with your business. I definitely said more, but I can't remember what exactly. I think he started crying because he stopped talking and locked himself in the bathroom. That's some alpha male shit right there, right? And
Yeah.
The last thing he said to me was, "Can you actually stop shaming me? My job pays our rent." I got to work on some voices. All right. I feel so horrible about what I said, but I just thought he needed to understand that making fun of people's jobs is terrible. I also understand that I do live with him, and his job definitely lets us live more comfortably than the average people our age. Am I the asshole for shaming my alpha male boyfriend about his job?
I'm about to go on a rant here.
The floor is yours, my friend.
So first off, 19F, you're most definitely not the asshole. So here's a couple things in life lessons from somebody that is over 40 years old.
Mhm.
There are a few things in this world that if you really are this, you do not have to say it. First off, alpha male. Secondly, a patriot. Third, a good person. If you have to say you're an alpha male or an alpha anything, you have to say that you're a patriot, you have to say that you're a good anything, guess what? You are not. You are faking the funk. So the fact that your alpha male boyfriend, I'm sorry, I said it this way, alpha male boyfriend, emphasis on boy, got in his feelings because you let him know how the world is. You know what? He effed around and found out. And you know what? If you keep throwing out those questions, someone's going to give you an answer you ain't ready to handle. So the fact that he had to go to the restroom and cry and ask you not to shame him when he did nothing but shame people who are less fortunate than he is, you know what? Those tears are no one's going to care about. You know what? I'm going to pull my inner Eric Cartman. I would be right there. You ever see the South Park episode where Cartman's licking the kids' tears because they're so sweet? I'd be right there with him, dude. I'm mainlining those tears like Rick James, okay? Like, I am so glad to see that he completely got shamed and got set where he should have been. Because here's the deal. Life is hard for everybody.
Mhm.
So if you're fortunate enough to make 4 figures, 6 figures, 10 figure, 1 figure, count yourself as lucky, and never take your good fortune as to you are anywhere superior to anybody else. So again, I really appreciate you, 19F, for letting him know what the F was going on. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because now you are officially Brian Dennis's Better Than Us Human of the Week.
All right. You know what, man? 100%. And this guy is not this guy goes past asshole. All right. So this guy is past. I don't even what
So
are we
like
thinking
taint? I'm not sure where we're going.
So what should we be past that? We're gonna call this guy is am I an effing asshole? All right. That's what this guy is, because dude, like get out of there, because this is not someone you want to end up with long term. I mean,
I think if you get past the asshole, you're in the colon, aren't you?
yes, this is am I the colon?
He is the colon.
He is the colon.
Wait,
I like that
he's the
so much
colon of the
better
week.
than
Yes.
the effing
Yes.
asshole.
Yes,
Yes. Am I the colon? Yes, dude.
yes,
Will.
you are. Yes, you are. And
Yeah,
19,
this guy, man.
yes, and
Mm.
19F, find you a better person, like legitimately. And hopefully he becomes that now that he's been shamed a little bit.
I hope that this guy learned some valuable lessons in this situation. I'm sorry
Absolutely.
that it had to be you to teach him this, and that he's lucky it was you, because I think that the lesson would have been taught a lot harder by other people. Brian and I used to work together with Iowa Works, right? We people would go there to help them get work, right? And you never looked at somebody for what they did. If they liked what they did, that meant something to them. I remember talking to this dude, and he couldn't read. He couldn't read. He couldn't write, barely write. And this dude was a millionaire that on his hard work alone. He owned several businesses, and you could shake this guy's hand and you knew it. This guy, he wanted a $14 an hour job just for something to do. He didn't need the money, but he would have taken the money, and just because he wanted something to do. And like to this day, I have no doubt this guy was a multimillionaire that I talked to. But yes, man, this guy is the colon. You are. You know what? I'm glad that you were able to. You know what? I'm going to say a little bit of an asshole, because you were able to knock him down, but you were the asshole in the good way.
You know what? Again, sometimes, I am not a fan of shaming, but I will say that sometimes we need to learn some lessons, and sometimes life is a bitter pill to swallow. So so sometimes it just needs to happen. So again, is she an a-hole? Not in my opinion, but you know what? He learned a valuable lesson that hopefully he will think about that next time he looks down on anybody for anything.
Amen. All right. Well, that was definitely fun. Brian, you already said you're Better Than Us Human of the Week.
Yes.
I will say mine is my wife, because she's been working, and then she's been going to the fair and not getting home till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. However, we haven't gotten to watch The Pope's Exorcist together yet, but that's okay. There's plenty of time. It's on Netflix. So she's my Better Than Us Human of the Week, even though she probably won't watch this or listen to this.
You know what? I'm sure you, and if you, I bet you are treating her as Rena's Human of the Week every week. So again, congrats,
Absolutely.
sir. You are both fantastic people, and I am so glad that you give her a little bit of recognition on our humble little podcast.
Yes. All right, man. Where can we find Brian S. Dennis?
You can find Brian S. Dennis on the Book of Faces at Brian Stephen Dennis. Feel free to give me a like, give me a follow. I try and keep it funny and sometimes a little weird.
Oh, yeah. You can tweet at me at Fandemic3. Message me on Facebook at The Fandemic. I'm also active on TikTok at Fandemic1. Hear my reviews and so much more. If you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. Yes, there is. You can go to buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. And on the next episode, Brian and I will toast you or roast you. You can go to Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, an episode producer, a pre-venge producer like Stacy, or yes, you could be part of the Council of Nerds, starting at about $5 a month. You can go to PayPal or Venmo if you just want to send me a couple bucks. I'll definitely take it at Bradley Butin, or just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review and keep the conversation alive in the comments. Thanks for leveling up my awesome and being part of the Fandemic family. All right, Brian, let's end the show like we do every week.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and the members of our Prevenge universe. This is always the best part of our week. Hopefully, it's a good part of yours. And as always, please remember to never give up, never surrender, and Goonies, never say die.
Remember, friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. Remember, when tempted to fight fire with fire, it's the fire department that usually fights it with water. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. And squirrels' cheeks are their nutsacks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.